that summer jam, skate shoes and that marching band.
First heartbreak, first slow dance. Now I'm just trying to make sense of plans.
Oh, take me back to the roof.
Hey folks, I don't even know if you could hear me. I am like still learning this technology and it's crazy. Hopefully you can hear me. And if somebody jumps on here pretty soon, we're going live and on all my channels. So I hope that it's working. It's not that complicated. I don't know why. I just played the little intro video and I couldn't hear the music to it, but I can hear myself talking through these headsets. So I'm hoping it's working and I am going to proceed as such. I have the computer in front of me so I can kind of watch if I think I can see on here if anybody joins on live. You can go to our website and not our website, but our Facebook page, our YouTube page, all of that. If you're just listening, this gets loaded later through our podcasting platforms as well. And again, I've like had zero time in between these videos to kind of learn and work on like advertising the video, letting people know that we're doing them. So, if you're one of the half dozen people or so that watches this on a regular or listens to me on the regular, I promise I'm working on it and I'll prove and try to get better. And hopefully pretty soon we'll be able to build a bigger audience. So this can be a little bit more interactive. But I'm talking to you today from the Healing Center, our boba shop on Calhoun Street in Woodstock. And Avery made me an awesome matcha boba. So I'm going to have my matcha boba here. And then what I want to talk to you guys about today, because I've been so thinking I really need to do one of these again to help me make some major big decisions that are coming up for Hempstock Farms, for the boba shop. The Hempocalypse is coming. And so I just wanted to chat a little bit about that with you guys and start to brainstorm it all a little bit. In fact, I think I want to grab a pen. So excuse me, I'm just going to grab a pen over here. I meant to do that ahead of time. Because I want to write a couple of things onto my little poster that I made up 2 seconds ahead of this podcast to show you what priority impact matrix is. And every once in a while, I'll look down at my computer, I have my glasses on, to see if anybody has jumped on or logged in, because we do have a regular link that you can go to at 7:30 every Thursday. If you go to that link, we should be open. You should be able to jump in. I think it just gives me a little ding and they need it. Leon usually produces the show for me, so I'm trying to learn to be a little bit more self-sufficient and do some of the stuff on my own. So anyways, let's talk about the topic tonight, which is this priority impact matrix and trying to figure out how to make decisions, both for your business and life. Even if it's just one moving forward, kind of like, should I buy this car or not buy this car? Should I rent this apartment or not rent this apartment? Should I launch this business? What should the next steps that I take in whatever you're doing? I've always done a priority impact matrix, and I sat down with the whole team about, I guess it's been about a year ago, and we had a big team meeting at the farm upstairs. We have a big whiteboard up there, and we drew this big giant priority impact matrix that looks like this. And we sketched it out of all our thoughts about what we wanted to do on the farm, where we were going. And maybe next week's podcast, I have a picture of that what our priority impact matrix looked like at the end of that meeting. And we actually left it up on our whiteboard, and I've kind of revisited it every couple of months. I've walked by and looked at it, and I've been kind of crossing the things off that we've done or been doing, or even stuff we were dreaming about that we did or didn't do. And it's just been interesting to kind of revisit that matrix to see where we're at. But let me explain to you first what a priority impact matrix is. And I'm going to use this little graphic to show you after I get a delicious drink of my boba. Oh, man. Avery does such a good job making the tapiokas. They're perfect. Perfect. That's a matcha, a little bit of cream, milk, kefir, some yogurt. Nice. Delicious. And green tea, or the matcha, of course. Okay. Priority impact matrix. So what we're doing here is we're making a 4-square grid. And I'm going to try to describe this so you could conceptualize this in your mind if you're just listening to this while you're working out or on the way to work, if you're just listening to the podcast. So you're making a 4-square grid, and on your vertical axis, which is this right here, on your vertical axis, that's your cost calculation. So if it's super easy to do, not a lot of cost, it'll be down at this area, down at the bottom of that vertical line. If it's something that's super expensive and super costly, it's going to move up and up to the top. So low cost down at the bottom of the vertical line, high cost at the top of the vertical line. So if you're at home and you're just listening to this, conceptualize just a big box that you're going to split into 4s. And that far left side, this first vertical line, is your cost. Then across the bottom here, going from left to right, across the bottom, at that axis there. So basically where these lines cross across the bottom right here, that would be 0. So if you had something that was 0 cost, 0 impact, that would be right there. 0 cost, 0 impact right there. And then your impact goes up and up. So basically what you're doing is you're calculating, what's this going to cost me to do something? Monetary cost, labor costs, overall investment you can think about. You can even think about mental cost, emotional cost, physical health cost. Be all inclusive, be triple bottom line about it. Think about, all of those costs you can incorporate. It doesn't have to be a straight financial calculation. It could be, like maybe it's something that you really hate to do. Like, I really hate to do taxes and file all that paperwork and keep track of all that stuff. So that's like, even though it's not hard, it's not exactly hard for me. I got a couple of business degrees, and I'm pretty good at math, and it's like I used to be a math teacher, so it's not like it's hard for me to do that stuff. I just hate it. It's really tedious. It's not joy filling for me. It's not joy producing. So even though in a like strict financial sense, for me to do my own stuff is just too much of emotional cost, not necessarily a big financial cost. So I'm just saying, like, when you're trying to figure out things, cost doesn't necessarily mean just money. It could be, this could be joy, a measure of joy, even this cost or something. I don't know. So, so that's the cost dynamic. Then on the impact dynamic, again, it doesn't necessarily impact is however you want to measure impact, whatever your goal is. If your goal is to make money, then the impact is your revenue. If the goal is to be really big and grow in size, then the impact is how big you grow. If your impact you're searching for is to help people and really change lives, then that should be your impact. If it's a triple bottom line, like people, environment, my business, if you're like, I want the business profitable, I want to help people, I want to positively impact the earth and the environment. If it's a triple bottom line thing, then think about what that impact is on the triple bottom line, what the cost is on the triple bottom line. So again, the idea is you define impact and cost, how you want to define it, because this is your decision-making grid. And you're the one that's making the assessment of how costly it is and how much impact it is. Now, I've done these before with very strict numbers, like like when I was teaching business at Rock Valley College, we would do, like I would have the students do like exercises. We're thinking about launching this new product line. Here's the potential cost, for updating your equipment. And then here's the market that we're going for. Here's our margin, our profitability. And then you kind of measure it like that. And it's just like a purely financial measurement. You could certainly do that. You can do a combo of it. I've done before where I've assigned employees or students that were working on a project and said, I want you to calculate how much it costs to implement this particular strategy. And they give me all the hard costs for it. And then I might factor in some emotional costs, or like my employees hate implementing this thing. So even though the physical cost, the actual literal financial cost might be $10,000, whatever, but if everybody hates that and people start quitting because you've implemented that thing, or they're like really against doing it, there's a lot of additional kind of hidden costs in there. So you just need to, it's very, I would say when you're doing these kinds of things in a very rough way, that not so scientific, but just kind of your rough gut feel kind of way, I think, you're the one that's making that assessment of what that cost is, what that impact is. And then I think if you just do a simple grid like this, where instead of putting numbers on it, like what you could do, one of the ways to fill out this grid is you like do a list, a spreadsheet, and you say whatever the thing is that you want to do, whatever strategy you want to implement, you list a whole bunch of those strategies, just kind of brainstorming, throw a whole bunch of strategies on a piece of paper. Then what you can do is make 2 columns, cost, impact. And then in those 2 columns, just work down through each thing and be like, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate this as cost? What would you rate this as impact? And it could be that simple of a numeric value that you're throwing onto each thing. And then that's how it gets thrown on the grid. This would be down at this corner would be 0 to 10, 0 to 10. And then you plot your things that you want to do. And then once you do that, then look at these basically 4 grids that we have. On the bottom left corner, you've got very low cost, but very low impact. And I've labeled that grid distraction. This is the thing that we always end up doing. So let's talk in the context of running your business. This is a thing that so many times your employees, yourself, you get so easily sucked into these very easy to do, give you that dopamine rush, give you that good feel. I'm going to do this thing, immediate, effect. You feel really good about it. You've accomplished something, but it really is truly a huge time suck. And you're not getting very much impact from it, and you're just getting distracted by it. I might say that this podcast is that for me. I mean, I hope long term as I learn how to do this and we start to market it and that kind of thing, I would hope that the impact would be further along down this line. But I would say probably right now in the stage that we're at, if I were to put down podcast on this grassroots podcast that I'm doing on this list, I would probably stick it down here. No, not down here. I'd probably stick it up here in the no square where the cost is really high, but the impact's really low. You shouldn't be doing that thing. And in a way, I'm kind of treating this podcast as a strategy for the business, kind of that way. I realize that it's high cost, and that it's not going to make a huge impact right away. So because of that, I haven't really, I've been very consistent to do this 7:30 Thursday every week and to bang this thing out, just to like kind of bang out content. But I've been quite slow on trying to learn all the technology and get it together and figure out what the format's going to take. And then more importantly, kind of advertising this podcast so people actually listen to it and hear what's going on and schedule guests ahead of time and do all that. So, yeah, that's a good example of like where that would fall on this grid. Is like some people would tell me you should just dump that. That's super distracting. But again, this is where you put your own kind of spin on this priority impact matrix. Now, I might say, I think eventually one day, I'm hoping this podcast gets some traction. I can help a lot of people. It helps me stay on track with what I'm doing, what we're doing with the business. I don't know. So you might be able to like say that the impact's a little bit higher than what you think it is, kind of thing. So anyways, that's an example of the distraction thing. Also the no square, like I said, it's on the far left side at the top. And then that is very high cost, very low impact. These things, if you do plot them into the square, you should just seriously consider dumping all of those things and don't waste your time on it. So that should be taken seriously. Then down these other two grids are the ones that that you really want to begin to have some discussion. So if you have a very high impact, very low cost, we're falling into this bottom right hand grid right here that says do it ASAP. So these are things that don't cost you very much. They give you a huge impact. Do those things right away. And I think sometimes the difficulty with that is those things tend, I don't know, I find in my business a lot of times those things tend to not be as, I don't know, motivating for me or like super fun for me. So maybe because of that, the cost is a little higher. I don't know. I just think when you throw it onto this grid, sorry, I have my window open and we have traffic going by. An example would be in this do ASAP, as I'm thinking about Hempstock Farms, is the one thing that we need to do ASAP that falls on my grid here is email. I'm going to write down email. And I'm going to write another one down here just to kind of show you email cost and impact. I would say probably maybe impact cost. I don't know. The impact's super low. Maybe about around here. Social media. Let's write a couple things on here. And then up here, I'm going to write CBD. All right. So I just want to show you a couple of things that I'm talking about. So on my grid, I put that high impact, very low cost is ramping up our email campaigns. So we have 80, I think it's 84 days. I want to create a countdown on our website. 84 days before the hempocalypse. 84 days, probably 80 before I lose credit card processing. Our last day to use our website right now is November 3rd. So after November 3rd, we lose credit card processing, which means we can't do online sales anymore through our website. So right now, probably the biggest impact for us for the lowest cost is ramping up our email. Social media, I have in, don't do it, I have in this upper right-hand grid, and because I have that it's a very high cost, it's super time sucking, it takes a lot of time, and you could maybe throw this podcast into the social media area. Because we're hemp, CBD, hemp farms, we've been like kicked out of all of our platforms multiple times. Our Facebook platform is super locked down. It doesn't go out to very many people. That any effort that we put into that, it feels super satisfying. Like any one of us can go on and look at those posts and that kind of thing, and you feel really good about it, like you finished something, you accomplished something. But truly the distance, the cost of how much time it takes to produce that social media, and then the impact of how many people actually see it and then go to your farm or go to your website or go to your fair or festival and actually spend money, I don't think you're breaking even at all, at least for hemp stock farms right now, because of our limitation on our social media. So I think any kind of effort, if you go look at our social media page, is pretty crap, all of our social media stuff, because we just haven't really focused on it very much because it didn't go anywhere for us. So we haven't been pouring ourselves into that. But email, I feel like that right now, that's super high impact, relatively low cost. I've put a person on it, and we are really going to start ramping up our emails. Hopefully we'll get out 2 emails a week. And every time we send an email, we get sales from it. It just reminds people that we're here. It reminds them, oh yeah, I need to buy another jar of joint muscle. Or, oh yeah, I need to do this. Because largely our email list was acquired face to face. Because we've never really acquired new customers through social media. Almost, I would say probably 95% of people that are currently on our customer list, that are on our email list, are people that we've met face to face and talked to. So when we send out those emails, it's not a hard sell on those emails. It's just a reminder, hey, this is a special we got. Hey, we have an event coming up next week. Oh, just remember us. You forgot that you just took your last sleepy time gummy last night. You better get that ordered right away, or you only have 3 left or whatever. So because we only have 80 days left to do online sales, I just put that focusing on email right now is relatively low cost, super high impact. So we need to get after it. Now in this upper, what would it be, upper right corner here, where it says measure twice, cut once. I'm calling these are major strategic things that you're going to do for your business. So for us, that would be getting a CBD manufacturing license after the hempocalypse. So both our growers license, I think our growers license still might be effective, but I had heard that our licenses are null and void November 14th on Apocalypse Day, and that we have to apply for brand new maybe not grower's license, but for sure the CBD manufacturer license we have to apply for new. It's very costly. You have to have your commercial kitchen license. There's just all these regulations that you have to make sure you just run a really tight ship and that you're going to qualify for the CBD manufacturer's license. It's a very high fee for that CBD manufacturer license, especially when I don't necessarily know. Like right now, I have CBD manufacturing license in this upper corner, but it could very well be that the impact is more like over here in the no area if I can't get enough white label contracts to become a CBD manufacturer. If I get the CBD manufacturer, and my goal with becoming a licensed CBD manufacturer in Illinois, if I get that, right now, I don't sell enough isolate. We don't even do broad spectrum. So only isolate's going to be legal. Broad spectrum's going to be legal. CBD, CBN, CBG. And currently, in our current sales right now, we do not make enough money to cover this high cost of obtaining a CBD manufacturing license. Now, before the hempocalypse, if I go out and I go to all these other small up and down the street CBD manufacturers that are also sitting here going, I don't think I can afford the CBD manufacturer's license either. And I can somehow pull this all together. And I've got 15 or 20 of those kind of up and down the street seed to label hemp farms that did their own manufacturing before. Then that pushes the impact over into this corner. So this is the kind of thing where you could kind of put this all together, put all your strategies up on this grid. And then as you work towards that thing, as this hempocalypse comes upon us, and I'm trying to like make the phone call, see who would sign up with us, it might move from here over to here to this. Oh yeah, you got to do this and go forward and do this. I find it's so interesting when you do this kind of thing in a team setting. I really enjoy that, because if you put, basically the way that I would do it is I would get your people together, brainstorm what you want to do. So just brainstorm. We could get our CBD license. We could become a food manufacturer. We could do, like right now we're doing test runs on mushroom jerky. We could do mushroom jerky. We could bottle aronia berry juice. Oh, and bad news, our freezer went out on us. Nobody noticed it. And we lost $1,000 of aronia berry juice this week. I'm so crying. Oh, I lost my aronia berry juice. I'm so sad about that. And so I need to call Maureen at Rolling Oaks Aronia Berry Farm and get some more aronia berry. But oh my God, that was terrible. I don't know. I got distracted. So what's fun to do is get a bunch of people together and then just list all your strategies, like all your ideas. We need more social media. We need a better website. That I just acquired Red Belly Bee honey. We should acquire Red Belly Bee honey. We should rebrand the honey. No, we should use the Red Belly honey brand. All these different, like you just brainstorm a whole bunch of ideas. We should add food to the boba shop. We should do more markets and fairs before the hempocalypse. Whatever that is, just have everybody brainstorm all of those ideas, put them on a piece of paper, and then have everybody create their own priority impact matrix, or even have them fill out a spreadsheet where they, one column's cost, one column's impact, have them rate it 1 to 10. If you even want a more top level, make your scale just 1 to 5. That's usually a little bit easier for people to make a quick decision about it. And then you could take, once you type in everybody's things, then you could kind of take an average cost number, an average impact number, and then throw it on this grid. And it's just a really cool way. It's just a really interesting way to kind of see a visual and a big overhead of like, what should we be working on? What should we be focusing on? And as I go and revisit the priority impact matrix that we made last year with the team, it's kind of interesting to just kind of revisit that once a month or whatever. And I just look up on that matrix and I'm like, yep, all these like super like easy wins. I'm like, yep, we did that. We did that. We did that. And then there were a couple of really high, hard to achieve kind of things. We've accomplished a couple of those. And it's kind of interesting to see that. And then sometimes it kind of pulls you back to stuff. Like you'll see something up there and you're like, oh man, why are we not tackling that? Like that's on our super high impact, a lot of costs, but why haven't we, made the steps that we need to go after that? Has it been because we've been distracted by this kind of, these super easy things that are really easy to do, but don't have that much impact on growing the business, saving jobs, helping people, whatever. And I think it's just a really, really good reminder. It's kind of like your vision board, your goals that you have or whatever. But I like this idea about looking at what's the cost, what's the impact, what should I be focusing on, what should I be thinking about, and just being constantly reminded of that instead of being so easily distracted by super easy stuff that's easy to get done. Just so you feel good about yourself, like I did something today. And it's just human nature that we want to do easy things, not hard things. And a lot of times for me, the things that are really high in cost aren't necessarily actual physically super high in cost. It's more that it's like I've got an emotional block there. Like either I don't want to call somebody, I'm nervous about that, or it's some of that cost is like just your own fear, your lack of confidence, that's making you stopping from doing that thing that's harder. So it's a good start, way to think about what you're going to implement. That's our half hour today. I think we are at, oh yeah, we're over the time. We're at 31 minutes. So thank you for having a listen. I promise I'm going to get better and better at the technology of this as we go along. And I hope you really can enjoy these podcasts and get some benefit out of it. And thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next week, 7:30 Thursday, every Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. Thanks. See you next time.
I just wanna rewind, bring me back to my prime. The Wi-Fi still felt so live, freestyling on beats outside. Whole squad with the sour spray vibes, no fake flex.